Hey everyone, welcome to Stars and Pearls, and I'm so glad that you found your way here. I hope you click like, subscribe, and share, and that you drop a comment in the comment section below this video. Okay, let's dive into this video, and the topic is on Julian and Assange and the future of Julian Assange. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be doing a video on Navalny, Assange, Bushnell, who immolated himself in front of the Israeli embassy, or on any of the other hotspots that are going on around the world right now. But when I pulled cards, it popped up Assange. Okay. So the whole case of Julian Assange is a nightmare. And it's so nightmarish, I feel, because as I was walking in the forest a couple days ago and I was thinking about it, and I thought, like, what is the actual case here? We hear so often, like, people calling out, oh, Julian Assange has committed treason. How can he commit treason on a country that he's not a citizen of and has never been to? As far as I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but the longest he's ever been to the United States has been 3 days or something like that. It's gotten so irrational almost. And when I thought about what really is traumatizing for the collective around this case, is that a country can simply go and pluck a citizen from any other country in the world and drag them to their own cave for their own form of justice. And that nobody's safe from that or protected from that. I think that's number one. But what goes even deeper for me is that there's no help. There has been no help. He has been forced to live a lifestyle which none of us would want to live for the last over 10 years now, or going on 10 years, I believe. And he's been forced to live in a way that has, and I think this is what's most traumatizing for humanity, is that no one could help him. And I know that sounds super simplistic, but just stop and think. We're all turned into observers of this case, of this scenario, of this absurdity, because he hasn't really, what has he done, actually? That's a whole other thing that's still out. What has he done? So there was a court hearing in the UK whether he will be extradited or not. The judges have not yet released an outcome. I it's a diplomatic nightmare for the UK. At the same time, I am picking up that it's in the hands of the UK, because whatever they're about to do, they can do because they're so close and tight with the US. And that, of course, it's been discussed or talked about before they make their absolute judgment. So, but back to this, being forced to observe and not being able to help, the natural human instinct of helping, the natural human instinct of moving towards someone who's fallen out of the group as we move through a life, forest, hunting, whatever, it's been suppressed. And again, it sounds so simple, but when you think about what that does to humanity as a collective, as a whole, and how our natural instincts to help are being thwarted, our natural instincts to stand up for someone or something, to be able to influence an outcome or a situation is being thwarted. That's heavy, that's a lot. And I know some of you guys won't be feeling it the same way, and that's okay. But that's what I picked up as I was thinking about what's the real tragedy in this case of Julian Assange. And that's, for me, the observation of suffering and not being able to help. They've gotten humanity to a point where we think it's okay to just observe. We think it's okay to just watch from a distance. And if we, go on social media or click a like, click a button, or we spend some money, then that assuages the artificial guilt and shame that is kept alive within us on a collective, or even incited for things that are happening so far away from us. But at the same time, the reverse is also true, where they're suppressing the natural inclination to be of service, be of help in the collective, in the group. So it's an absurd situation of watching someone be targeted, be followed by an entire nation of which he's not a citizen, on a planet that rotates like a mote of dust in the sunlight, that is no bigger than that is insignificant on the grand scale of things. And here we are still with our divisions, our divisive mindset, our divisive tendencies, our pride, our all of it, and it doesn't seem to heal. I know people want to hear something more positive, and hear, oh, humanity's on a great way, and the great avatars are going to come and save the day, or, all this stuff. But is that really happening? You know? And I feel humanity is going to be pushed to a crossroads where it's literally do or die, and by our own making. And it's absolutely unbelievable to me, and the situation is so absurd, and it's so abstract that it's scary, and it's detachment. And I find that, to me, is the deepest tragedy of this Julian Assange case. It's literally the Hunger Games, watching someone suffer, run, hide, try to survive while everything's gunning for him, and not being able to stop the game, not being able to infuse some humanity, not being able to bring a thirsting man water. And to live in this kind of a society, or this kind of a world, and people don't even wake up to it, is mind-blowing. How can one man, okay, one man affect a government so much, number one? And this government, which is comprised of several hundred people, okay, that are making these decisions, possibly even a smaller amount when it comes to him specifically. So how do millions and billions of people fall in line over this, are not able to step up and help, right? So I don't know what to say. Let's see what's coming out in this reading. But I'd love to know, what is the message of this Julian Assange situation? And of course, people are going to want to know what the outcome is as well, to where will he be in 3 months? Okay, let's have a look at that. Where will he be in 3 months? So let's first have a look at Julian Assange, the man, because so much has been written and been smeared about him. But at the same time, what I find, there is some humor in the situation for me, because people constantly, of course, I get requests for readings, right? Regarding, when is he coming? When am I going to find my person? And when I think of Julian Assange, who found his person under those conditions, and the rest of us are like, searching and looking and doing things and showing up and going here and going there, and the man can't even go anywhere. And Pamela Anderson shows up for him, and they have a little affair, apparently. And then he gets married to his lawyer and has 2 children, or several, with her. And I'm thinking, how is that even possible? How is that even possible? But here we are. So, yeah, he's done good. And yeah, it's good that he's got some people on his side, some people that show him unconditional love. We're gonna have a look at his health as well, and see how he's doing there. But overall, let's start off with, who is Julian Assange, the man? And to rotate back to Navalny, I might do a video on him. I'm not quite sure, because I did do a part 1 on Navalny a couple of years ago already, and To be honest, you guys, I did not like that man's energy. And a lot of the lies and the hype around him are just unreal. And the way people buy into it and don't second guess or don't check. And, he's the anti hero. Meanwhile, he was totally racist and not that great of a person. But yeah, that's a whole other video. But I wanted to say that I don't know if I'm going to do that video on him. I might. But Julian, I have a much different vibe or feeling about this man. And so I feel much more comfortable doing a reading on this one. I don't even know why I'm telling you guys this, but whatever. Anyway, sidetrack, side note. Okay, Julian Assange, please. Who is Julian Assange? Julian Assange. Who is the man? This is how everyone sees him, how only he sees himself, how only others see him, and how God, Spirit, the other side sees him, which includes, a possible hint towards his mission or what he's actually doing here. So the card for how everyone sees Julian Assange. And Julian Assange is Six of Swords. Now, this is a... and we see this woman here who's bent over, who's carrying a child, okay? And he's ferrying his child. So the people that know him to be a family man. That's the first thing that I'm getting right off the bat. He's very concerned about his family, the future of his family, how they're going to, be. He's not interested he just wants to move away, actually go somewhere else and take his family with him. He just wants peace. He wants to get out of this. He wants to get out of this whole experience, out of the matrix, out of the world. He has lost total, for now, for the moment, okay, interest. Now, the Six of Swords also is called in the Thoth Tarot. It's called science, right? It has to do with knowledge and has to do with learning. And so it's explained there that we leave one shore of understanding to move to another shore of understanding. We leave one set of understandings behind. And in order to grow, we have to disengage, we have to unattach. So one thing about Julian is that he seems very unattached as well. He's not very engaged in the outcome. He's more focused on what's real to him, and that would be his family. He is someone who likes to learn, however, who likes to read, who likes to absorb knowledge, who likes to gain more understanding of certain situations and things. But right now, he seems to also be planning a trip or planning travel or planning to travel, that some kind of travel is going to happen for him. Now, how only he sees himself. He sees himself as part of the great work. Okay, we've got the Three of Pentacles here. He sees himself as part of a team. He doesn't see himself as a one-man person or a one-man wonder. Okay, he actually, with the Three of Pentacles, sees himself as part of a team, part of a group, part of a working. He sees himself as someone who is just in the right place at the right time. He doesn't see himself as anything extraordinary whatsoever or at all. He sees himself as a working man. How only others see him. He must have done a lot of spiritual work in his time off, in his time, where he couldn't leave the Ecuadorian embassy for a couple of years, where he couldn't leave. Now he's in jail, a high security prison in the UK. And the thing is that a lot of people, I think he's in that high security prison in order to maintain his safety. That's the only way they could maintain his safety. It's not about keeping him under, because he's such a Jason Bourne, probably not, but to ensure his safety, I feel that's why he's there. So I also feel he's done a lot of spiritual work. This may have been meditations, readings of books or writings or something like that, but he's again the education, and here we've got the spiritual card, and this is how only others see him. So only others see him as something special, something unique, something divine, something to be loved and cared for. Others see him as a loving person as well, as a lover, the Ace of Cups, and they see that in his core he's fundamentally good. This is what people seem to see about him. How Spirit sees him as the King of Cups. He is bringing healing. Now, the King of Cups represents a lot of things. One of the things the King of Cups represents is healing, being a healer, someone who's emotionally mature as well, somebody who inspires to look at emotions or what moves underneath the surface, right? Someone who's firm in his acceptance of his emotional self, in a sense. So again, emotional maturity, but someone who also heals emotions. So there's something about him that is deeply connected to spirit. Here we see it with the King of Cups, the Ace of Cups, the Six of Swords, and to a certain extent with the Three of Pentacles. He's come in here to do a specific work, which he has done. He doesn't see himself as anything unique. He sees himself as a normal man, as he doesn't know what the kerfluffle is. Like, he does. He's not unintelligent. He does. But at the same time, he personally doesn't see himself as such. He is educated, has educated himself, especially on spiritual topics. He's grown spiritually tremendously. He's very clear emotionally. He's settled. He's found peace. That's another thing I'm feeling out of these cards, is a lot of peace. So whatever comes or whatever happens, he's found peace with himself. He's found peace with his life. He's found peace with his fate. He may have been working with psychologists as well, who've helped him to kind of structure a foundational way of thinking or perceiving his situation that allows him to see how much he's done in this short amount of time on this planet, right? So it's he does, I want to say, see his value, but for the most part, I feel this is someone who's found their peace and who's bringing a certain level of healing, emotional awareness to this planet. Okay, let's move on. What is the purpose of this, situation, or what he's endured or what he's gone through? What is the purpose of what he's endured, what he's gone through on this planet? What is it doing for this planet? What is the purpose of the story of Julian Assange? So definitely we've got the Ace of Wands here. It's about a new spark. It's sparking something. It's about inspiration, being inspired. The Ace of Wands has to do, obviously, with inspiration, rekindling that fire of spirit and willpower, of intention, of life. Julian Assange, please. Julian Assange. What is the intention of the story, or what is the purpose of the story here? This is what it is, what it isn't, the next step, the outcome, the advice, and the overall energy. So the overall energy is saying Six of Cups. So definitely something that he signed up to do. This is what his soul came in for. His soul in the other realms, or in the higher realms, is something that is extremely powerful, but how should I put this? Not to confuse this power, because every time we say powerful, everybody's like, "Boah," So it's a very strong or old established way of seeing things. His soul, okay. With the Emperor card, this is an energy or a consciousness stream that has already established itself over time, and so he's doing what he knows to do. He couldn't do or act any different, because that's the energy, that's the nature of his soul. So what this story is about resilience. Okay, it's a reminder to humanity to endure, be resilient, hang in there. And as I'm saying this, I'm reminded of this concentration camp, and I used to have a video up, but I kind of put it on unlisted. If you want to see it, I'll send you the link, of a concentration camp that I visited while I was in my hometown, if you want to call it that. But anyways, in Germany. And this concentration camp also harbored one of the founders of the Socialist Party in Social Democrats, Social Democratic Party in Germany. And he was in the concentration camp, I think, in the 40s at some point. And his spirit and his energy was still there. So we had a conversation. But one of the conversations that came up, or thoughts that came up, was about enduring for principle. And so many of us in our world nowadays is not really about that. When we look back to the 20s and 30s and 40s, or even prior to that, and what people endured for principle and what they went through to make a point or to endure for something, people are not really about that nowadays, generally speaking. Occasionally, like with Bushnell, who put himself on fire in front of the Israeli embassy, you'll see something of that nature pop up. But generally speaking, most people, the masses nowadays, we kind of endure to survive, right? Plain to survive, not just for principle. It's resilience for survival. So this story is reminding us that we also have to endure for principle. We also have to be resilient. The good has to be strong. The good has to be tough. The good has to pull a line in the sand. The good cannot let itself be contaminated. Otherwise, it becomes something other than what it is, right? So it's kind of like seeing a clear bowl of water and dropping food coloring in there. We have to stay resilient to certain influences, and it's difficult to do because the good is naturally inclusive, it's naturally understanding, it's naturally compassionate. But at every point, like there's always a point that's reached, there's always a moment that's come where it's just clear that this is not a frequency or a vibration that belongs in this category or realm. And we have to learn to draw boundaries and be resilient. So there's this message of resilience that he's bringing into the world through what he's enduring. And it is very sad still to me because, like I said, to me it's so off that something like literally the Hunger Games can happen in real life, and we're just forced to observe it and watch and can't step in and say no, like we don't want to do this. That's the whole point of having a democracy, isn't it? Right? If we're in a democracy, but we're not. And but we can't determine anything about our own lives, much less help someone else or determine the flow of something. We can't stand up and say, oh no, you're not representing me and we don't want this has to stop. So this is something, for me, this is really deep, because the one most important thing for me about life is its freedom. It's freedom to express, it's freedom to expand, it's freedom to stop, it's a freedom to explore. And it's variety as well. It's variety of thinking and, of course, expression, right? So to have something that controlling and limiting and is deeply disturbing, deeply disturbing. And for people not to see that is also deeply disturbing to me. So this message, from what I'm seeing, is on resilience. What it's not, okay, and what it shouldn't be. This shouldn't be a message that leads into ambivalence, or a message about ambivalence in a sense. This is not about Two of Coins. Two of Coins has to do with juggling two sides, has to do with ambivalence, has to do with not being quite sure yet, or doubt. Not, yeah, being kind of lukewarm. So it's something that shouldn't leave us lukewarm, or we shouldn't lose ourselves in doubt over this. I'm not quite sure what that card is doing there, but we'll see the other ones and maybe it'll come through. So the next step is a battle, okay? The Five of Wands. And this is probably what's happening and ongoing right now. They still haven't made a clear decision if they're going to extradite him or not. It's still like there's still so many things that have to be worked out, and especially, how will the US respond if the UK says, nope, I'm sorry, can't give them to you? I mean, the US and the UK are tight, 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 right? So there's some kind of a squabble, many different ideas, push pulling, looking to the future. How is this going to expand? Like, are we shooting ourselves in the foot if we deliver him? Is he going to turn into a martyr? Is that going to turn into something worse down the line? Like, these are all things that are being considered here. The outcome is the moon, okay? So they're being guided by fear, and all these decision makers are looking at every aspect of what they fear and what a nation could fear. They're looking at the fearful aspect of what occurred and what might come, instead of looking at the aspect of how can we turn this for good? How can we make this something positive? They're looking at the most negative aspects that they can look at. This is a completely toxic environment, toxic minds, toxic people that are dealing with this. It couldn't get any darker or more negative, and it's sad. It's really, really sad. So the advice, or the stay positive, right? Always stay optimistic, stay true. This is also a hint that things might work out well for Assange, that they might not go the way that a certain country wants it to go. It might work out for him ultimately. So either it works out for him now that he won't be extradited, or if he is extradited, that he's still going to win in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so, but it looks with this card like, there's no reason to not continue to believe in the positive. And this is part of the message to us as well, to stay resilient, to continue to focus our positive thinking, our positive affirmations, our well wishes, healing energies, all of it towards this situation, towards this story, because in a way, as observers, we're all contributing to it. So if we're all, if you remember the double slit experiment and how the observer influences the outcome, because on the quantum level, everything is a potential until it's observed, and then it collapses into a reality. So as part of us, the collective observing the situation, we do have influence over it. We can observe a positive outcome, a winning outcome, no matter which form or shape it might take. But it looks like he will somehow rise above this, somehow with the Six of Wands, make this, it's going to end up being one of the stories of our times. So let's have a look. Where will he be? Let's see, 3 months from now? Or what will happen with Julian 3 months from now? Where will Julian be 3 months from now? Where will Julian be 3 months from now? Where will Julian be 3 months from now, Spirit? Where will Julian be 3 months from now? Okay. So it looks like success. This is a double-edged card, so I'm going to have to open up the other cards to see definitively, because this can mean so many things. On the one hand, of course, it can mean success, that 3 months from now he's going to be in a warmer environment, a warmer place. There's going to be celebration. There's going to be a feeling of freedom or release or relaxation around his situation. It could also mean the other side is celebrating because they finally have him. It could also mean that he's literally on the other side of the veil and he's being welcomed home. So there are several different avenues here. Let me see. So these are the cards leading up to this, and this is what's going to show us, and this is actually what's going to come after. And so let's see. The longest term is, yeah, he's going. Remember, the moon card showed up as the final card in the last one, and so it feels like after a period or a trial of trepidation, a trial of uncertainty, a time of uncertainty, a time of facing the worst fears possible and the most toxic people causing these fears, talking a lot of garbage in a sense, right? But sounding very professional, and people that aren't on his side and pushing things and agendas. And after standing that, he gets to a point where, as I've said, he's made his peace. He's literally made his peace, and he's developed spiritually in a way that whatever the outcome is, he is at peace with it. And this Nine of Pentacles is showing that he's going to be kept safe, okay? Because the Nine of Pentacles has to do with safety, stability, certainty. So certainty is coming, and it's actually pretty positive. And we can see here with the yellowish colors, solar plexus, confidence, positivity, certainty, safety, stability. He's still going to be kept isolated for a little bit, but that isolation might end soon. The next card is Strength, as you guys can see, and Victory, okay? So where will he be in 3 months? It feels as if, some kind of a victory is coming his way. Remember, this was the final card in the last layout as well. This was the last card was advising us to stay positive, see a positive, victorious outcome for him. But after enduring all this, there's a certain level of expansion and freedom that is coming to him. The foundation of this, that's what I was worried about. Okay, that's I'm not quite sure how to take this. It could be that the whole situation comes to an end, okay? That it's finally done. It could be that he won't be extradited, but then he can't leave, and he makes his home in the UK. It could be that he is extradited and he comes to an end. It could be, but whatever it is, this whole situation around Assange is going to be brought to a close. They cannot continue. I think it's been roughly, with the number 13, has it been 13 years? I'm not quite sure. But it's going on 10 years at least that this situation has been going on and on and on and on and on. And it is so public at this point, they can't let it get too much longer. It just doesn't make sense, and they have to bring it to an end. So I do see this whole situation coming to an end. I just hope it's not with his end, and but I see a positive outcome for him, a positive result to this whole thing. I'm predicting here a victorious ending for him, but to be fair and honest with you guys, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't need to be, right? I don't need to be what side of the veil he's going to end up on, But it feels as if this time of fear is coming to an end. He's moving into a much better experience, a much better time. This is actually going to work out for him. Whatever the outcome is, he is on the winning side. He's won. And this whole situation comes to an end. Okay? So that's it on Julian Assange. And how will the world take it? One final card. One final card for how the world will take the ending of his story. And I do feel that he's going to be, like I said, focused on his family and a family life. It's not going to be, if he gets back into this whistleblowing stuff, it's going to be on a very low-key, subtle level, initially at least. I don't feel him being totally open to it though. Like I feel like he's had enough of the world and its shenanigans, and he's just gonna do his thing. So let's see here. How will the world respond to Julian? Whatever happens in 3 months, how will the world be responding to what happened to Julian Assange? And that will give us another key as well. And yeah, they're going to see him as a hero, King of Wands. Okay, they're going to continue seeing him as a hero. They're going to continue seeing as some kind of guide, you know, like there's this energy that is just larger than life, guiding one of the big guides or big characters in humanity. Yeah, but he's Five of Pentacles. He's going to, I don't know. There's this feeling of him rejecting the world now, you know? I don't know where to put it. Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, living his life. Okay. So how the world responds to him is seeing him as a hero, seeing him as someone who's deeply inspiring, seeing him as a guiding figure through this soup we call life. And I feel him starting new, and however that shows up, I don't feel him, okay, no, I don't feel he's going to die. I don't think they're going to do that. But if he's extradited, he's going to win, and if he's not extradited, he hasn't. He's won already. So it's I don't feel this having a negative outcome for him at all. Okay. So let's pray, let's hope, and send our positive intentions, and all the best, all the very best. Yeah. Okay. I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.